Good morning, people. Welcome to the YouTube. So today we're going to be running through my full day of eating on a cut because I've now finished my bulk and I'm into a cut phase. So I'm going to run you guys through all the food that I'm eating, the changes that have been made, and then the overall sort of plan of action for this deficit phase. But at the moment I'm just on my morning walk because that is now the first part of my schedule, is down a litre of water, morning walk, and then come back and make the shake, which you guys have seen a billion times before. So I'm going to enjoy this walk and then I'll walk you through the rest of the day. Wow, it says walk twice, jeez. And of course I also brush my teeth because I'm not an absolute degenerate. Teeth brushing has to be done firstly in the morning. If you do it after breakfast, you are an absolute weirdo. And we are in with meal one. So a smoothie that you guys have seen me make a billion times already. He says a billion as if it's not actually twice, but it's been in the last couple of videos, so you don't need to see it again. Check out those if you want to see how I make this. But it's essentially 300 grams Greek yogurt, 0% fat. The Skyr one is good. I did used to get Fage, but I just can't justify the price anymore. And it is Fage, it's not Phage or whatever the fuck, okay. 30 grams of whey. I'm on the Perform lemon cheesecake at the moment because that goes very, very nicely with yogurt. Then 100 grams of blueberries, 100 grams of frozen raspberries, cherries, not raspberries. Raspberries are in my oats. That's what it is. 2 grams of salt, and that is it. Bosch hazelnut dark chocolate from Aldi. This has been out of stock for a while, but it is back and it is glorious, so I will munch that. And then we've got a coffee as always while I get through writing content for next week, because Tuesday is content day. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And if anyone can guess the languages that are on these, all 4 of them, then I will, what will I do? Give you a high five. I'll give you a high five if you can guess the languages. That definitely seems like a fair trade for trying to guess the languages on some random YouTube video. If you want to comment something other than the languages, it's preferably a hate comment because I'm awful at this and you should hate me and boost me up in the algorithm so more people see how awful I am. But if you're enjoying it, drop a like, drop a subscribe, you know, all that good stuff. And last thing to do before work gets started is to turn on the sad lamp. So turn this bad boy on and I get absolutely blinded. Look at the state of that, because it's the UK. It's never bright enough outside, even though my desk is literally in front of a window. Jeez, shaky cam, wow. Meal number 2 of the day here, except I'm actually cooking this a few days later because I refuse to do all my meal prep on one day. It's incredibly inconvenient. I'll just do my meal prep as the last thing. We have now got the best seasoning on the planet. They're the Tesco Schwartz Smokehouse Barbecue. Unfortunately, I did spill it all over the side. Courgettes getting chopped in half, then getting chopped lengthways and into quarters they go because they're big boys. Pepper technique is same as always. We slice it up into the long segments and then just dice it into little chunks, and it works out lovely every single time. We bang it in, we mix it all up, and this one is almost ready to go because I've already done the rice, which you will see later on in the video. Speaking of which, if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to drop it a like. I just burnt my hand there because that rice was so hot. We divide that portion up by reverse weighing on the scale, so we just zero the bowl and work out all the portions from there. It's lovely. If you're not on the macadamia nut oil, you're missing out. Hello sexy people, how are we doing? Also, hello non-sexy people as well, we do not discriminate here. We are back with meal 2, very similar to what you guys will have seen, because I'm a boring bastard who likes to eat the same things. That's moving my iPad out of the way. As you know, now you can see more of my towel on the drying rack, so we're actually going to cover that with the iPad. There we go. You guys will notice it's a feature of my videos that there is towels hanging up everywhere, because wherever you can dry stuff, you know? That makes it sound like I have like 7 showers a day. Anyway, it is what it is. Should we actually get into the content now? Yeah, we probably should. So, chicken mince, rice, beetroot, pepper, and some courgette with macadamia nut oil and some chicken stock because it is banging. So this is 50 fat, that'd be a lot of fat, 50 protein, 75 carb, between 75 grams of raw rice here and then the 150 grams in the smoothie. Protein is just from 200 grams of chicken mince. There's a bit of trace from the rice as well. And then the fat's going to come from the chicken, and 10 milliliters of macadamia nut oil. So that is going to be lovely. Really, really enjoying this meal at the moment, even though I've been having it for ages. And if you aren't on the chicken mince, that is where you're going wrong, because, I mean, look at that. Jeez, micros are in. Micros are in. So I wanted to talk a little bit about sort of what changes have been made from going to a surplus, where I was obviously eating like 3,700, wow, I can't speak today, calories per day, and then I'm now at 2,500-ish. So carbs have been pulled down a lot from, I'm just looking at my notes over there on the laptop, from sort of 5,225 to now 310 on a training day and 260 on a rest day. So calorie and then fats are 50 on a training day and 60, and that's just to mean that I can have a bit more carbohydrate, which is going to help fuel my training performance. Protein stays the same, apart from some slight differences, because I'm having 4 meals a day rather than 5 now, just because it works easier for my work, and I can actually, you know, fit some more stuff in, which is always pretty handy. So I'm going to tuck into this in a second. Only other thing I was going to say is that steps have now gone from 8 to 10k on average for the week to 10k minimum for the day, and then cardio is still at 15 minutes post-workout every session, and seems to be working well so far. At the time of filming this, I'm 3 pounds down in 5 days, which is obviously going to be a bit of blow, bit of water weight, but it seems to be going pretty damn well. And today is pull day. First up, we have the single arm fake Nautilus row, because Nautilus don't actually make a row like this. Unfortunately, this is going to be the last pull session I'm doing for a little while, because as I am recording this, I've currently got a pack of peas on my foot after severely injuring my toe, and currently can't walk. But it's fine, my upper body is getting jacked from using the crutches. Anyway, cues for this movement. We are thinking about driving the elbow down into the hip and keeping the torso stable as I allow that scapula to move forward and really, really stretch the lat. Please don't be scared of moving the scapula in a row, guys. It's going to lengthen your lats more. Previously, I was running pull-ups, but I was getting a bit bored of them. They were beating up my joints, and it wasn't feeling particularly good. So I've swapped them out for a pronated pull down with a lean back, using my torso, keeping that stable, and allowing the scapula to move around that to really stretch the muscles of the upper back, the traps and the rhomboids, because that's what they do. They are designed to contract, pulling on your spine and the edge of the scapula to depress and retract that bad boy. And that's mainly what I'm thinking about here. And if I don't touch my chest by the end of the final rep, I'm not too bothered. Now we've got bent over dumbbell rows coming in for this session. I set these up on a bench because the 34 kilo dumbbells are pretty heavy when you're a person that weighs about 78, something like that. Now you'll see that these are actually bent over. I'm not 45 degrees in the air, barely even challenging my back, okay? Again, we're keeping the upper back stable, we're moving the scapula around it, and then I'm just thinking about driving the elbows out and up. That's it. That's it. To finish off back work for this session, we have got a single arm cuffed pullover. Again, this is a new exercise for this training block. I've got the cuff around my wrist here, and you'll see that the cable gets very, very close to the shoulder as I'm going through that. And what that is doing is reducing the moment arm to the shoulder. Therefore, the lats aren't getting anywhere near as much challenge in the short position, which is ideal because we get very, very weak there. And the more I lean my torso over, the more that happens. The more I keep my torso upright, the less drop-off we get in the short. But really challenged in the lengthened, and drop-off in the short is what we want. You'll realise that I am in fact that guy who hogs the cable stack, because my next exercise is in the same place, but the gym wasn't busy, so it's okay. We have gone for a dual cable curl here, which allows me to rotate at the wrists and keeps it feeling quite nice, because my wrist position likes to change as I go through curls, and as the dumbbells get heavier and heavier, that's just something that can't happen. You'll also see that I'm thinking about contracting my triceps at the bottom to really stretch the biceps, and allowing that elbow to come forward a little bit as I fatigue to take challenge out of the short positions for the reasons I just mentioned. Now we are on to rear delts, and unlike the other movements I was talking about today where I was saying let the shoulder blades move, here we want to keep them fairly stable. The more your arm comes across the body, if it's coming from shoulder blade movement, isn't more stretch on the rear delt, because the rear delt attaches to the shoulder blade, so it's not getting any longer. I really like this machine because the forearm and the wrist aren't involved at all. I can just think about moving my arms out and getting a really nice contraction through the rear delt. and not being distracted by my triceps. Then we are on to the final bicep exercise, which is a stand away cable curl. You'll see I've got the cable height higher here, and what that means is there's max challenge to my elbow and therefore the bicep in the bottom position, because we've already done a short and focused curl, but we retain our strength in the length and range for longer. And now I'm just going to carry on talking because my arms look fucking massive here and I think it looks cool. It's time for the post-workout meal. This one is nice and easy because I've just got back from the gym, just showered, and we've got the Choco Wheaties here. Best bulking cereal ever. I'm still eating these because they taste really, really nice. So 120 grams of them. We then get 100 would be a lot, 30 grams of raisins, and put them straight into the dome. Get a nice hit of fruit. I'll swap these out as I start to get hungrier, but at the moment we are doing all good. We've then got 50 grams of whey in this meal. Put the salt in, add some water, and we are all ready to go. We have got meal number 3 for the day here. I have just got back from pool. It was a very, very good session. Pool always tends to go pretty well for me, to be honest. Like, I never really have too many issues progressing it. Even when I'm struggling to progress push and legs, like, pool always seems to go up, which is quite nice. And just means that I need to look at the other sessions as more of an indicator of like how fatigued I am. So I'm just mixing my cereal, whey, salt and water together. I have already had the raisins, 30 grams of raisins, just to chop them straight in the dome. I'm going to need a little bit more water here. Now this meal, compared to what I was having when I was pushing up, is actually only 25 carb less, because we want to be having a good chunk of our food around that training window so that you can get as much as you sort of need to out of it. Okay, if you're having like barely any food around your training, you haven't got as much as you could in order to recover and progress and fuel your next session as well, because like, yes, some of this is going to be used to recover, but a lot of it's going to be used for what I'm training tomorrow, which is going to be legs here. You might have also noticed about that session there is that I wasn't training that hard. It wasn't like balls out intensity, because this is literally week 1 of a new training block. I deloaded, as you will have seen if you watched the last video. And speaking of which, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you are liked, subscribed, and ring the bell so you get notified, bro. Get notified, and drop me a comment if you've got any questions about what I'm doing and all of that stuff. But yeah, I deloaded while I was away. So this was a first week back, literally keeping like 2, maybe 3 reps in the tank type of thing, so that I've got some room to progress over the course of the diet, because I am still going to be looking to get stronger, but it's not going to be at the same sort of pace as, oh, I nearly went out of the bowl there, that wouldn't have been good, but it's not going to be at the same sort of pace as it was previously, and I obviously appreciate that this doesn't look particularly appetizing, but it tastes good, and these choco shreddies are unreal. Now we are cooking up the chili, so a couple of sprays of oil straight into the pan there. I get the massive knife because I'm clearly compensating for something. We chop that up and try to not let it go all over the hob. That has happened before and it's an absolute nightmare. I don't know why it's got those brown bits in. I literally bought it from Aldi yesterday, but apparently they can't buy good quality food. Rice goes in, which you didn't see earlier. Much apologies for that. We put the hot water in, the salt goes straight in that as well, and we get that cooking while I prepare the rest of the meal. Clearly chose violence today with a hot chili con carne seasoning, but it is how it is. We're going to scrape all the dodgy bits of skin off the carrots here, and then just chop those bad boys up so they are nice and circular as opposed to any other shape. We don't want squares, we don't want triangles. Circles are the way to go here. Same thing happens with the mushrooms. We dice those up into quarters and then they go in. I just start with the hardest veg first, there's a joke in there somewhere, and pop the rest in as it gets softer and softer. Definitely a joke in there. Nobody wants it to get softer and softer. So that it all cooks fairly evenly. Peppers get cut up same way as you saw before. Then it's time for the chopped tomatoes and the kidney beans to go in. Make sure to rinse the container out to get all the juices there. Now I'm just making my pineapple and mango smoothie, but I've realised that Aldi have done the classic thing of keeping the price the same and reducing the amount you get, because they are thieving bastards who will continue to get my business, because I will, you know. Dividing up the rice here and making sure it's fairly even. I don't need to weigh it out. I know what roughly a quarter of the container is, and it's all good. And meal. And meal 4 is all cooked up. We've got chili and rice here, and then the standard mango and pineapple smoothie. I just had to tilt that back because it did almost go out the bowl, which is obviously not ideal. We do not want that to happen. And yes, this is about as oversized as you could possibly get a t-shirt, but it's comfy, so we are going with it. So unlike the previous full day of eating, obviously as I'm on 4 meals now, the portion of beef here is a bit more, so still 30 grams of cheese, but we've upped the beef mince to 200, no, it's like 190 or something like that, because that's what it works out, divided the pack of 750 by 4, and that's convenient, so that's what I'm doing. And then it all works out with the cheese anyway. 65 grams of rice here instead of 85. And then the kidney beans are no longer the chili sauce kidney beans, they're just the plain ones, which is a bit boring, but we've got extra hot chili seasoning, so hopefully your boy survives, because he likes it a little bit spicy, but not really spicy, because I am white at the end of the day, and I can't handle spice. What I was actually going to say is, obviously I mentioned how body weight has dropped off fairly quickly. I think it's 3 pounds in for 5 days, which is pretty mad. Obviously that's not all body fat, okay? Some of that is going to be just fluid, glycogen, bloat, and that's mostly gone now. I'm already starting to look a fair bit better, which is handy. So that will probably slow down a little bit, but my aim is still to keep that rate of loss to, you know, like 1% of body weight per week. So for me that works out like 1.6, 1.7 pounds depending on where I'm at, and then I'll reassess as I go through the phase and decide, okay, do I need to slow that down, do I need some high days, do I need some refeeds, that sort of thing, as I hopefully get closer to the photo shoot. But yeah, that's the plan. For the phase, plan of action for this evening is to just finish up this meal here. I'm also going to watch some more of The Boys season, is it season 4? Yeah, season 4 episode 5 I'm on now. I don't think it's as good as the previous seasons. I feel like it's before they were very good at like subtly reflecting the political environment, whereas now it's fairly obvious, which I think doesn't make it as good. Like early seasons was really good, and heavily rated, but I'm invested now, I might as well finish it. You know, it is what it is. So if you have enjoyed this video so far, like, subscribe, share, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you guys soon. So just finished up the full day of eating. Now then, I've got to do this bit while I was sat down but washed up, and we are all good to go. So totals for the day are 2,500 calories, 10 grams of protein, 310 carb, and 50 fat. So a decent amount of food to be dieting on and expecting to lose like 1.5 to 2 pounds a week. And then cardio steps isn't anything crazy, it's literally just 10k steps, and 15 minutes cardio post workout. So what I'm going to do is splice this into when I was sat down and then when I did the outro, and it will be like none of you guys even noticed anything. It's not like I'm in a completely different setting now with glasses on where you can actually see my screen, but we're going with it. So see you guys later. Thank you very much for listening. I don't know why I didn't just do an outro here. Oh well.